Hey y'all, today we have two people on who y'all freaking loved. It had the best week ever on the lead up to the NFC Championship. A couple of guys who have met recently, but have been just freaking awesome guests. They're starting their own podcast. I haven't got a name yet, so maybe we'll get that dropped today. But it's Adam Rosenberg and Dan Newby, but he goes by Dan Alexander because people can't spell Newby. How y'all doing? What are the vibes? Vibe check. How are we
Vibes
feeling?
are high.
At an all-time high, man.
All-time high.
All-time high. The Eagles are undefeated since we started coming on honorable mention as a pair.
I
Never
also
lost.
I love how much the success of the Philadelphia Eagles triggers the entire United States. It is just incredible. We haven't even played yet, and we are bothering everyone.
Yep.
And why was it Sirianni? Why was it Sirianni's fault that the person had the camera up in his face and he nodded at the camera? That's bad.
Whatever.
Antics.
He's
What the hell?
People are like, I don't like his antics on the sideline. Yeah, well, you know what? Like, those type of people also probably use the word uppity, and
Right.
that's
Seriously.
yeah.
Then beat him. If you don't like it, then beat him. And also, somebody puts one of those 8K cameras in your face. What are you just gonna be give him a solid nod? No, you're gonna get juiced up when you see
Yes.
a $40,000 camera in front of you. I love it. I will die for Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I love it. I love how the people who don't like. There are a lot of us, who love the Eagles, but the people who have tried to downplay all of the Eagles wins this year. It's funny how they get to have it both ways, because Daniel Jones was about to be the emerging star of the NFL. Brock Purdy was the next coming of Aaron Rodgers. People didn't literally say these things, but the way they were trying to build up these narratives, it's so if the Eagles are going to be really tested, now the Eagles haven't been tested to a Super. How the hell does no team in NFL history has ever made a Super Bowl without being tested?
The greatest.
I mean, what does that mean?
Newbie, I don't even want to. I'm not even going to steal Newbie's line, but I will let him say it. But every single time someone says the Eagles have beaten no one, what do you say, Newbie?
Well, they've beaten no one except they've literally beaten every single person that they played.
Exactly.
With the exception of the New Orleans Saints, when Gardner Minshew forgot how to throw a football. By the way,
they had 7 sacks in that game and basically just gave that game away. They actually controlled that. Yeah,
they've quite literally beaten every single team that they've played. So it's just the bulletin board material that continues to get thrown up. It makes these people look so corny. Think about Julian Love. We still have the receipts of you getting absolutely torched by Devontae Smith for a touchdown. Micah Parsons, we left you unblocked the first time that we played you, and you
Brandon Aiyuk now wants to talk about defensive schemes because he didn't show up. I'm sorry,
one target, one catch for 10 yards. Sorry,
I didn't realize that you took D'Amico's place. I had no idea. What a big career move.
It's funny. It's funny. Like that direct quote from Aiyuk was something they're going to get exposed and we were going to be able to expose them until some unfortunate circumstances. So wait, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. Does Brock Purdy also play defense? Because the best defense that the Eagles were going to see all year long, they put up 31 points on. But then because Brock Purdy got hurt, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they had more 3 and outs, they couldn't do this. But I'm just the other thing is also Brandon Aiyuk needs to shut his mouth, because I don't recall him ever showing up for a season until this season, and he seems to now suddenly have legs to stand on. If you're gonna also build your entire argument around the overperformance of literally the last pick in the draft, get out of here. Just get
not
out
the
of my
greatest
face.
hill to die on.
Yeah, that's such a dumb hill to die on.
And weren't they kind of talking like Jimmy was a healthy scratch? I know that's 80 years ago now, but wasn't that what they were saying at the beginning of the week, that it didn't matter if Jimmy was healthy, that they were not going to play Jimmy because Brock was the guy?
Yeah, it didn't matter until Josh Johnson got a brain smoothie in relief of Brock Purdy. It didn't matter until life happened, and that's the funny thing too, is you completely discount what happened like it was just some luck. It was just some happening. It wasn't us cashing a 2-sack prop that we gave here on the honorable mention in the first quarter. In the first quarter. It didn't have anything to do with that. The Eagles' utter defensive dominance had nothing to do with that. Of course. Had to get the Chronicles of Riddick here in the open. That we cashed it.
Oh, and we got,
I did that
Adam, since you dropped it. Hey, Berg, since you dropped it, give the people who unfortunately missed the last episode, tell the people about the Chronicles.
Make sure you're subscribed.
Yes. First of all, like and subscribe. All of these things.
You.
You subscribe and listen. The Chronicles of Riddick was a 2-sack masterpiece constructed by Dan and myself with the man who had 17 sacks during the regular season, actually back-to-back over 14 sack seasons, I believe, was shunned in the Defensive Player of the Year finalists, got to play against the probable Defensive Player of the Year, the MAGA man himself, Nick Bosa. I'm sorry, his brother's the MAGA man. He's MAGA Jr.
But they're both, I was gonna say they're both MAGA.
Look, trust me. The Bosa household, is
they're very upset about the
two
Super Bowl.
black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl.
Every single pillow in their house is a my pillow.
Oh,
every single pillow in their house is
they're so mad. And anyway, look, Hassan Reddick took him to lunch, and the reality is that also, and Brandon Graham had the best quote of the week when he was talking about how he's ready for the Super Bowl. He says, "Why is he ready for the Super Bowl? Why does he feel good in Week 13?" Because he's like, I only played 60% of the snaps. Nobody on that team has had to play more than 60% of the snaps. Like when Ndamukong Suh is our 7th lineman, you got trouble. And everyone's in good shape.
And as soon as I heard the Chronicles of Riddick, go back and listen. Like they said, listen and subscribe. It was momentarily. Their newbie barely got the 2 sacks out of his mouth, and I was like, I love it. Let's do it.
We literally were betting it live.
And Matt was like, Matt, you were in. You're like, he's a superstar. Why are we not betting this twice?
Yeah. Like, it's like, how is this 3.8 to 1? This is
well,
absurd.
we got more. Right. We got like we'll
let's just not even belabor it. Let's just do it. Let's just get into it.
We're doing it right now. We're just forgetting the agenda.
We'll get into the agenda. But what's more important is that we drop these bombs for people.
Okay, fine. Then I'll go first. All right. I
love this. Caution to the wind.
All right, my first one. I would like to talk to you guys about the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, who is the best quarterback of the last 15 years, probably going to end up being one of the top 3 of all time, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. This bet is called Go Mahomes, Patrick, you're drunk. It's Patrick Mahomes to throw 2 interceptions, not just one.
Very punny.
It is, yeah. Well, look, it is. It's also plus 460 on Bet Rivers. It's plus 380 on WinBet. It's plus 375 on BetMGM. You can you can find it for above plus 350. Him to throw 1 sack is just above even money. But the reason why I like it is because he's thrown 4 interceptions in 2 Super Bowls. He threw 1 against the Eagles last year, despite the fact that they blew them out. His passer rating overall in his career is 106.1. It's the highest that any active player has. It's the highest actually of all time. 115 in the playoffs. What is it in this? But not in Super Bowls. In Super Bowls, what is it? 64.2, and he's faced 49% pressure rate. So basically, what happens is that Patrick Mahomes is actually incredibly pedestrian when he is in the Super Bowl. So given that,
is it weighted by that Tampa Bay one though? Because that Tampa Bay one was pretty awful.
Well, they didn't throw a touchdown in that game, but like he threw 2 picks in the San Francisco one. Yeah, also here's what happens. They go. So look, this is a deeper discussion of why the Eagles are great and are the absolutely like going to win this week, but when teams that have the number 1 rated pass defense get to the Super Bowl, they win. So we've seen this consistently. We saw this in 2013 with the Seahawks. We saw this in 2015 with the Broncos. We saw this. It's top 3 pass rushes is what happens. We saw this actually with the Bucks. The only time in the last 10 years that it hasn't happened with a top five passing defense in the Super Bowl has not won was that San Francisco one where they were number 2. And that was only because Jimmy G couldn't get a first down with 3.5 minutes left, and they turned the ball over on downs twice. So
that was pathetic.
It's really, really bad. Like, because if they got that first down, they run out the clock and they win that game. Okay. So go Mahomes, Patrick, you're drunk. Is 2 interceptions from Mr. Mahomes. I actually do think that either way,
it's very punny. You got to give it to him. That's a solid name.
Look, it's game.
You had no help from me on that one, man.
I did. Well,
that was all Berg.
I couldn't.
That was all Berg. That was all Berg.
So let's go to one from newbie, and then we'll do it.
Yeah,
we'll do more later for people.
I love this one though. I love that.
All right, I like that. I like that. You know what I'm gonna actually do for you? I'll give you my one branded play, and then at the end, I'm gonna go rapid fire for you, and we're gonna call it plays with no explanation that Daddy likey at the end of the show. But right now, I'm gonna drop for you the branded play, and all it is called is Brett Kern sucks, but points are cool, and it's total punts under 7.5.
I love this.
I think there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, and it'll kind of give away when we break down the game and give our thoughts. I don't think there's going to be many punts happening between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I think you're going to see maybe some ratcheted up third down plays. You might even see some fourth down conversions. So it might be a little correlated to go over fourth down conversions in the game. You might have to lay a little juice to get that, but this total punts under 7.5, I think this number should be closer to like 5.5. So I think we're getting a full 2 points of value. We only have to lay minus 140 for it. So Brett Kern sucks, but points are awesome. Let's not see a lot of punting in this game under the 7.5.
I love that. I love that play.
I like that. I like that one. I'm going with that totally.
Because these are both aggressive coaches. They go for it on fourth.
Super Bowl 52. I don't think there was a single punt. I know that the Patriots didn't.
No, we didn't punt. We didn't.
In what?
It was Super Bowl 52.
Oh yeah, no, there was maybe like 2 punts. I honestly, and again,
600 yards in that game, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I say we put a pin in it because we don't want to give away the whole kit and caboodle for what we're thinking about the Super Bowl, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of. I think we could see a similar Super Bowl than we did 5 years ago, to be honest with you, from a scoring perspective.
I have a different view on that, but I mostly agree. I mostly agree. I'm in the car with you.
On the
but at some point, you're like, I think we're gonna go this way, and I'm like, but what if we went this way? We go to Wawa.
It's like that meme where it's like it's like the car that's going off the on ramp.
I like to think of it that we're in what is it called with the motorcycle with the small sidekick thing next to it?
I'm the sidecar.
You're the I'm the sidecar. I'm the sidecar to you, and I'm there, and we both have those goggles on for sure. And I'm like, dude,
newbie's hair in the wind.
Right. Yeah.
It's blowing.
With the scarf.
Oh, 1,000%. Maybe an ascot.
So anyway, one's like, yo, you could go to Wawa or you could go to Steve's Princess Steaks. And I'm like, yeah, I got to go to Wawa, and we're gonna go this way. Either way, you're getting fed. That's what the point is.
That's fair. That's
fair.
So we're excited, obviously, that Kelce has comments saying, because my thought was, would this be the end of the road? And I was pretty convinced, just guessing that it would be his last game. But he said that it doesn't feel that way to him. Is that him just trying to keep us from crying until later, or does he really feel?
It's probably because his body isn't all busted. Like, think about what his body has been through. Like that Super Bowl that was 5 years ago. Like he was the only guy on that team. He was the last man standing on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Like on that O-line. People dude hasn't missed a game. No, Peter
Vitae.
Bodyguard was out. Everybody was like Vitae came up, but like Vitae wasn't starting before that. Like that was a patchwork line that season. Don't forget about the fact that even I believe it must have been last year or 2 years.
Lane played. I think Lane was on the field. Lane and Kelce.
Yeah, because he ran out with Jason Peters.
Yeah. But the thing, but the whole thing with like Kelce's body's been hurt the last few years, man. Like he didn't
because of Wentz.
He just took a beating. I think that
because Wentz left him out there on the field too long.
Yeah, well, he was holding on to the ball for 17 seconds, just waiting for someone to get open so that he could throw an interception into triple coverage. But
that's right.
Hashtag Wentz to the Cowboys, alive and well. Make sure I get that in there. But
oh my gosh!
On the Prescott Radio Network, the Prescott Podcast Network.
So the crazy thing is, as far as this Kelce thing, because I think it's a great question, Matt. But he's playing the best he's played in his career. You know what I mean? And I think. To go back to your original question on, do you think he's trying to, spare us some heartbreak? I think probably there's part of that he doesn't want the whole narrative being like, it's Kelce's last ride. You know what I mean? Because one of the things that's always been about Jason Kelce ultimate leader. He doesn't want anything to really distract from what the ultimate goal is, the ultimate purpose is. So everything you hear him saying doesn't sound like a guy who's even mulling retirement right now. And then you see what he's doing on the field, and he's still single-handing, like DDTing people into the turf. Like, he is being a dominant force up front. So he doesn't sound like a guy who wants to retire. He doesn't look like a guy who needs to retire. I think he's a smart enough guy that he's going to get out before, but I don't know. You look at how this team's set up. I don't think any of these guys are looking to hang it up anytime soon. If he does retire, for what it's worth, Matt, I don't know if they're that, they're going to be that hurt by that retirement. He's incredible what he brings from a leadership perspective, but you move Dickerson over to the center.
Or Jurgen. Well, Jurgen's a big
Jurgen's.
boy.
Jurgen's over, and then you keep Dickerson at maybe guard. Regardless, the point that I'm trying to make is they're set up fine on the offensive line with or without Jason Kelce. They get this Super Bowl home, first ballot Hall of Famer. He already might be one without this.
There's a psycho world, Earth 2 world, where if you can find it at 1,000 to 1.
Nerd.
Yeah, well, you knew what I meant, nerd.
I did.
So Jason Kelce wins MVP, and I can tell you, and let me take you like if you found it. Hold on. You found it at
Kelce? What the hell do you have to do?
I'm turning off my camera. I can't co-sign this.
Hold on. 1,000, fine. 1,000. If I offered it to you for 1,000 to 1,
how the hell does
Jason
Kelce Berg? How do
I'll book this
yards, if they run for 400 yards and nobody is, and no other player is super dominant, absolutely for 1,000 to 1 odds, I would
run for 400.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let me out nerd you and say, Anakin, you're going to a place that I can't follow because I will follow you into the midst of Avalonburg, but I'm not placing a ticket on Kelce to win Super Bowl MVP.
All right. Well, we got better options.
Berg was the only one that got the Eagles plus 20 though. He got the Eagles plus 20 last week.
You are right.
Yeah, but that's a little bit.
We were very skeptical
about that.
Predicting
a center,
me and
a
Matt
center to win the MVP.
Yeah, you're right.
No, it's fine. All right. So no, I agree with you. Like, Kelce's just performing at too high a level, and I do think that you're right. A lot of it is probably more of Kelce's not the kind of person to make anything a distraction. This was the week for them to press him on it. And look, they pressed Brandon Graham, and BG was like, no, I'm still playing. I don't think the Eagles are going to pay him for what he's going to do. I think it reeks of like, hey, I'm going to go to Tampa Bay for a year and not pay Florida income tax.
Hell no. BG's either going to get re-signed or he's done. That's my opinion.
I think he's going to play.
I think he's going to play, but I think that money is all that CJ money.
But he could come back at a lower number.
He could.
But salary cap's also going up next year, just for all his salary cap
million.
Purposes. And if there's anyone who could make it work and allow him to stay around, I
want it to look. I want it to happen.
I agree.
But also,
he's a guy.
Keep in mind, he took a pay cut the first time, so he's probably going to be like, and he just had a career year.
Yeah. But does he need money?
No,
you know what I mean?
He doesn't need. But he'll have 2 rings, and I'm just saying, I would understand it if he's like, because someone's gonna offer him
1,000%
3 at 20 each year,
1,000%
easily.
But also, where is he gonna go? Where he only has to play 50% of snaps?
Probably Tampa Bay or Miami.
Fair.
I
don't know if he wants to go to some suck team though. With all due respect to the Succaneers. The non-Tom Brady relegated.
So all due respect to this team that I just said completely sucks.
The non-Tom Brady years, except for their high point was that 2002 season, obviously, where they
one of the best defenses of all time.
But other than that,
another example of the top-rated deep pass rush and what happens when they got to the Super Bowl. Like, this is a consistent thing. Like,
against Rich Gannon
championship. People say defenses win championships. Like, that pass rush was insane, dude.
True.
It was
insane.
Simeon Rice.
I'm so the biggest disrespect that the Eagles are getting is like, fine, you want to discount all the teams that we beat offensively, sure, but this team ate every other player for lunch across the board. They had more than 30 sacks more than the second place team. Stop it. Just stop anything otherwise. And remember that when people say defense wins championships, this defense is playing at such a level that it's not going to matter.
So bringing up Berg's, not Berg, newbies, Wentz to the Cowboys, bringing back to the Cowboys on the Dak Prescott News Network here. You know, do we really think that Jerry is that delusional that he really thinks that the Cowboys are building for the long term, or is he just is he just trying to, like, you know, patch this up for his delusional fans?
All I know is, dear God, we were 20 minutes in and we didn't go deep dive on the Cowboys. I was starting to sweat. I was starting to break out in hives. I needed my Cowboys talk.
That's right.
But dude, this Jones is crazy, man. I was talking to my dad about this and just reading this quote out loud, and like, they're set up more.
Do you have it? Can you give it to the people?
Than the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't have the quote in front of me, but maybe Berg, you could try and pull that while I rip here for a second. But they're set up more for the future than the Philadelphia Eagles are. Yeah, okay. Maybe if you want the future to look exactly the same as they've looked basically my entire life since the late 90s, right? What did they do this week? They just added Brian Schottenheimer. Like, Marty ain't running out of that tunnel. Brian is. So you just added Brian to an already insanely incompetent coaching staff. So sure, you know what, Jerry? You are more set up than a team who has a 24-year-old MVP candidate at Super Bowl or in the Super Bowl at quarterback. And, this team who's playing in the Super Bowl also has a top 10 draft pick this year. So whatever fantasy world Jerry's living in, it's one that truly continues to give gems like this. Sure, Jerry, sure. You're more set up for the future to look exactly like how the last 20 years have looked.
They're more set up to win 6 games next year than make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Berg, you grab the quote.
Look, I mean, I got the quote. It says, I'm real hesitant to bet it all for a year. There's a lot of things that can happen for that year. A couple teams, the Eagles and the Rams, they have some real success putting it all out there and paying for it later. Don't think that doesn't pop in my head and get in my eye as far as I'm doing it. I know how to do that. I know that we're playing for the long term. Is the long term 27 years? Is that was that their long term? Because that's as long as it's been since they advanced past the divisional round. So I don't know.
Jimmy Johnson.
There is one person on that Cowboys team that we need to applaud, and it is the masterful performance that Kellen Moore was not even allowed to interview for jobs in these last 3 off seasons. They were like, "This is our guy. We want him." And what did he do? He went out there and put out one of the greatest plays to get himself fired.
That was the best.
It was great. He's like, wait, how do I get out of here? I know. I'll have Zeke snap the ball as the final play of the game. I mean,
and then the guy get lit up to end the season.
Well,
that play lives
like
rent-free in my head.
The Glee meme. It's like, I'm going to come up with a play so moronic that it's just incredible. Like, that is, look, man, you want to talk about how you tank and get yourself fired? That's how you get yourself fired.
It's blaze of glory stuff.
Blaze of glory.
Just fantastic. I mean, we love you, Cowboys. Keep it up. You're doing fantastic.
And we'll continue to talk about you every time we're on here. Yeah. We promise that.
Yeah. Yes. So the Eagles have 58 sacks in the last 12 games. I guess you guys have dueling takes on if it's going to be a high scoring game, lower scoring game. It sounds like. I mean, let's just get into that part of it. Not who wins or who loses, but what's the general flow of this game?
Bergie?
Okay, so this kind of goes into my next play that I love, which I've branded
another
running down a dreams and nightmares. It is the Eagles it's called the Eagles to score the first TD, and it's a rushing TD at plus 400 on BetMGM. So and you could actually you can couple it with another play of the Eagles to score the first touchdown in the game of minus 120. The reason why I like this is because the Eagles scored the first TD in their game in the 19 games they played this year. They did it 13 times, which comes out to 68% of the time, which is absurd. Whoa. Okay. The only times that they didn't, they had a couple games where they didn't, but the couple games where they scored first and it was a field goal, half of those were when Jalen Hurts was hurt. So, and 8 of the times that they scored the first TD, it was a rushing TD, and they have 39 total rushing TDs. So first of all, and if you look at how things are priced, it's priced better. It's priced shorter for them to score a touchdown than it is for them to kick a field goal. So they're scoring first. They're scoring on the ground. This basically allows you to pick any of those guys that are on the field, any of these guys to be the guy who runs it in. You're playing the percentages on this. Like the Chiefs have only scored the first touchdown. They did it 57% of the time, but the fact that the Eagles are nearly hitting at a 70% clip on scoring the first touchdowns of the game, and you're going to give me 4-1 odds that it's somebody on the ground. It could be anybody. I love it. So,
but they
that is
kick it off. So you're saying that the Eagles are going to stop them and then score it on the ground.
We don't know. I mean, like, first of all, if I'm the Eagles,
they generally defer. They always do that.
No, I mean, if I'm the Eagles, I'm taking the ball and I'm doing exactly what I continue to do. I'm like, because the game script for the Eagles love to run the ball and and they've been so successful at putting points on the board early. I mean, even if they stop the Chiefs, I'm not worried about it because like the reality is that the Chiefs actually don't score really well in the first quarter anyway. The Chiefs actually do most of their damage in the second quarter as well. So look, this is basically me double downing on the Eagles going to score first, and it's going to be on the ground. It is not going to be a passing TD. If it is, great. But like, I'm going to take the Eagles at 4-1 to score a rushing TD to open up the scoring in this game. Because I think I think the game goes over, but my game script for this game is much more of a Eagles pile it on early, and then it's 31-7. It's a 31-14 type of game until the fourth quarter, and like Patrick Mahomes makes them think something. Like final score on this one for me is 31-20. All right, so that is.
Oh, so you get the over by a hook,
yes.
Right? Because we're sitting at 50 and a half.
I took the over at 49.5. I wouldn't be taking the over I wouldn't be taking the over now, but like I can't. I don't see a shoot because the team's not built for a shootout. The team's not built to go touchdown for touchdown with another team. The only time they did that this year was with the
Cowboys.
Jags.
We almost beat them.
Jags and they almost did it with the Cowboys. They did, but they're just not built that way. Like that defense isn't built that way.
But that was with Minshew. We dropped 34 on the Cowboys with Gardner Minshew.
Sucks.
Talk about somebody sucks.
But the way that
Gardner
I see the game unfold, the way I see the game folding out is like, I think that the Eagles are going to put points on the board. I think they're going to win this game by 10. I think that they're going to continue to run the ball through this team. The Chiefs are giving up 5.1 yards per carry in their last 3 games. Also, by the way, Joe Burrow quietly almost threw for 300 yards, despite the fact that nothing was watchable on that Bengals team last week. So there is not a doubt in my mind that this Eagles team is going to do what works, run through them, and they're going to put points on the board.
I just wanted to mention something, and then I'll give my thoughts. I do think it's really funny that Berg and I have the exact same, not final score, but total points scored. I also think there's 51 points. I think the over goes over by a hook, and it goes over late. So over bettors. I think this is going to be a really good week for the public, to be honest with you, betting on this football game, which might give away what my final is going to be. But I want to just go back to something that Matt said about how teams always defer, right? In the Super Bowl, you always defer. Really, just in football, these teams always want to defer. You couldn't be more spot on. So the last 12 Super Bowls, the team that has won the toss has deferred the coin toss. So 12 straight years. So that might even be, if you have like an offshore, if you have someone that has a little bit more exotic props, team who wins, what do they do? I'm sure that you could bet that out there somewhere. Last team who took the ball to start the game, it was New Orleans in Super Bowl 44 against Indianapolis. New Orleans actually went down, and it was a passing touchdown. So I got those numbers from my guy Ralph Michaels over at Wager Talk. But yeah, 12 straight years the team who has won the toss has deferred. So Matt,
and have they won? Isn't there a stat that like they've deferred and they've lost? Because like the Broncos deferred, like all these teams deferred and they lost. Because I remember.
Wait, no. The Broncos lost.
When the Broncos lost, they lost. They had threw a pick 6 in the first 10 seconds of the second half.
It was the safety. It was the safety.
Safety started the game.
But they took the ball.
Oh, I guess you're right.
They took the ball. Snap went over Peyton's head, and
there's a correlated stat with the coin toss basically that I'm getting at. That is basically like if you bet the ball first, 99 times out of 100, you're also still winning. Or if you score first, I should say, you are winning the game. So maybe I'm
you have to score though.
It's looking right deferred. So I'm not going to crunch these in live time because that makes great radio. But just looking at the last 4 Super Bowls, the team wins. The team deferred last 4 Super Bowls. All of them lost. So Cincinnati won the toss. Kansas City won the toss. San Francisco won the toss. Rams won the toss. Before that, New England won the toss. Before that, Atlanta won the toss, lost.
Yeah,
Carolina won the toss, lost. Seattle won the toss, lost. Seattle, last time the team who won the coin toss won the game was Seattle against Denver, the 43-8 game, Super Bowl 48. Unreal.
Ooh.
We just stumbled upon that live on air here. That's wild.
That's the crunching
because there is a prop.
My brain is still doing that right now.
like even there is a prop even on DraftKings, team to win the toss to win the game. Like, do we honestly just like blindly bet that? No, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
it's bet the team that it's the team that gets the ball first. Really, wins the game. Like these are ways to stack the Eagles money line. If you're just like on it and on it and on it, and you're probably.
Talk about finding gold here at the halfway point. That was beautiful.
I thought it was something. I knew it was something with that because I wouldn't even thought I was listening to Sean Green's podcast on SGPN, and they were talking about how because Heads is 4-1 for the coin toss. By the way, don't bet the coin toss unless someone gives you even odds. Otherwise, gatekeeping Twitter is going to explain to you how break-even percentages work. But he's like the public's all over Tails because Tails is quote due. But Heads has been 4-1, and it was just about what happens because you have the coin toss, then you have the decision, then you have what happens after that decision. The decision of deferral seems to be directly correlated to losing the game. And look, at the end of the day, if you're playing an Eagles team that runs the ball, I don't know. Do you want to give them more chances to control the clock?
Wow. That was some gold. We stumbled upon it.
That was beautiful. We were literally like digging, and then we found the
we were like, oh my God,
whoa, there's gold here.
Like, is it
there's gold in them hills.
Did we hit a pipe? What is this?
Oh my gosh. So no chance the Eagles match the 2000 Ravens by only allowing 23 points in the playoff run, right?
Here's the thing. So what? That would mean that the Eagles had to allow only 8 points in this game, right?
There's a world where that happens.
I agree. Like here's
the thing.
That's
sick. Gannon gets a statue if he does it. Damn everything everybody said.
I feel like Gannon should already get a statue from the video of him driving into the game.
So
and he was like, we're going to roll these clowns.
No, it's even worse. Dude, newbie. It's even better. He said, we're going to gut these fuckers.
Yeah, we're going to gut these
fools. He did
say
that.
Like, that was great.
It was
he was like listening to Wu-Tang, like just getting crazy hype up.
It was great. It was so great.
But like, do I think they're only going to allow 8 points? No. But at the same time, nothing would shock me with how this playoff run has played itself out, because everybody continues throwing down the gauntlet on this team. And then both the teams that they played in the NFC playoffs, like the whole talk leading up to go back to what you led the show with, Matt, was like, this is the best defense that they're going to play. They're finally going to get exposed. Like, it sounds auspiciously like what they said about the Titans game. Like, they haven't met a rusher like Derrick Henry. He's going to run all over him. They haven't seen a pass defense.
They haven't
like
been tested.
The Titans. Yeah, like they still haven't been tested despite the fact that they've passed every single test. And then you can say it's fluky. You can say it's wild. In the NFC playoffs, this team just won their games a tune of 69-14. 69-14. So they're not just beating teams. Nice. They're eviscerating teams. And nothing would surprise me. Does it mean that I'm going to find a Kansas City to have under 10 points and bet it? No, but this team continues to rewrite the script for what impressive means. And when all is said and done, people will make their complaints about what an easy path that it is. Mahomes was hobbled in the Super Bowl if they end up getting it done. At the end of the day, man, if the Eagles get this done and they get it done defensively against Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, two of the best offensive 1-2s that the league has seen in the past couple decades, maybe ever, when all is said and done, you're going to be talking about a Philadelphia Eagles defense and a Philadelphia Eagles 2022-2023 team that's amongst the best teams and most dominant teams that we have seen in NFL history, no matter who they played. That stuff's going to fall by the wayside.
If they do this, and I'm not trying to set that as the bar, the expectation, because when y'all watch the game on Sunday, nobody should be expecting the Eagles to only give up 8. I'm saying this world that we're talking about this, I would go out and say that this is the best defense in NFL history.
I mean, it'll be considered up there. I mean, look, first of all, I can't wait till the Eagles do this, and that Kansas City Chiefs fans say that Eagles got lucky, or
Sacks?
Buffalo Bills.
The refs.
Buffalo
It was Carl
fans,
Sheffers.
You know what? By the way, I need a healthy reminder to everyone that while the Eagles' weighted strength of schedule is 31, the weighted strength of schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs is 28. So shut up.
And they lost to the Colts.
Who we did not lose to, and everyone else beat. All right, like I get it.
We found a way that day. We almost did. But we found a way.
I get it that transcendent properties don't exist in sports, but they do. I think that I agree with Newbie on this. This is a team that is still on defense consistently disrespected and has an unprecedented level of eating the other opponent, and they're fully healthy. It would not surprise me if this game is 38-7. It would not surprise me.
And I wish, Matt, we could be like,
what are you talking
about, Berg? But we tried. What are you talking about, Berg?
Against the best. Well, it's Patrick Mahomes tax. Like, you're betting against one of the best players of all time, which makes it really difficult. But I can easily see this happen.
He might still go on to be the GOAT.
Chad Henne has shorter MVP odds than Hassan Reddick than Kenny Gainwell does, which means that somebody out there means that Chad Henne might get meaningful snaps to a point where he could win MVP.
Pride of Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, one of three prides of Reading, Pennsylvania. If I'm keeping score at home,
me, Chad Henne, Alex Anzalone, and Breland Moore. Yeah,
Breland Moore and Taylor Swift, but Breland Moore comes before Taylor Swift.
She doesn't claim us. We don't claim her.
There you go.
Just to put a little bow on as far as this team being one of, or at least this defense being one of the best in NFL history. Sheil Kapadia dropped a stat today on Twitter that blew my mind. Eagles have sacked opposing quarterbacks on 11.5% of all of their pass plays, and that's the highest mark of any team since 2000.
Ridiculous.
And if you just look at the difference in sack rate between the Eagles and the second team behind them, with the Patriots, looking at this metric, it's the same distance as the Patriots, the number 2 team, and the number 29 team, the Bengals. I mean, this Eagles team and what they're doing, 62.5 sacks on the year, is in rarefied air. One of the most prolific pass rushes that we have seen in quite some time. However, they are going up against an Andy Reid that we can, talk crap on him, whatever. He's never going to win the game here, whatever. We know that when Andy has 2 weeks to prepare, like, he's going to come proper. Like, he's going to come prepared for this football game, scheming around what our strengths are. Now, what the hope is that we have a lead, or he has a lead with 2 minutes left in the game and doesn't know how to manage the clock. We know that's how this all is going to end. But as far as scheme-wise, Andy's going to come proper. So this is going to be a pretty big test for them, because it's not like the offensive line matches up great with them, but schematically, Andy Reid will have some scheme type things, some wrinkles in the fold, so to speak. That's going to make things difficult getting to even a hobbled Pat Mahomes, I think, at least early in the game.
I don't know what the odds are on that exact score. I feel like we now owe it to ourselves to bet an exact score where the Chiefs have 8 or less, because we have to, because there is that one universe, and that universe is probably like a 250 to 1 universe. It exists, but
because Tampa Bay did it. They put out a blueprint.
Well, yeah, Tampa Bay did it. Well, look, I will defend the Chiefs here. Tampa Bay also did it because the Chiefs, the game before that, lost their starting left tackle, and things got very different. Look, this also leads to but they're, as they do say in Star Wars, there is another. All right, there's another. A weak. You're a dork. There's a weak link.
Leia.
That weak link leads me to another play. That weak link is Mr. Thank you. Dork. Andrew Wiley is the weak link, similar to what we exposed in McGlinchey last week. So I like Eagles over 2.5 sacks. It's juiced at 140 on DraftKings, But here's
Eagles as a team over 2.
Yes,
What are
but
we
wait,
again? What are we talking about?
Well, hold on, wait. Let me get through it. You mentioned the Bengals being the 29th team. That Bengals team still was able to get 3 sacks on Patrick Mahomes last week. That Bengals team last year had 4 sacks against him. Patrick Mahomes has been sacked. It was sacked 8 times in last year's playoffs. It's coming off a game where he was sacked 3 times. He was sacked 3 times again against the Bucs in that Super Bowl. His floor in the playoffs, that entire team actually, the pass protection goes down for that team in the playoffs, and his floor is actually 3 sacks in that time. So here's just want to run through this historic Eagles defense over their last few games. 3 sacks against SF, 5 sacks against the Giants, then 2 against the Giants in the game that no one cared about, 7 against the Saints, 6 against Dallas, 6 against the Bears. This team is going to expose that right tackle. They're going to get 3 sacks. This is I think that the juice is worth the squeeze on this. And there are more situations where whether he's fully healthy or whether he's even a little bit hobbled, I think Patrick Mahomes doesn't do well under pressure in these kind of situations. We've seen that. So I think that this line is going to look a lot like that Bucs game. So bring on the Mahomes with points this week. I'll take it. So
the only path, the only path to the Chiefs sustainably moving the ball on the Eagles is for them to work the quick passing game, different arm angles for Mahomes and such. Yes. That's the only way to do it, because if Mahomes has to run around, I'm sorry, high ankle sprains, they're nothing to play with. You can be 2-3 months out and your high ankle sprain still bothering you. You can walk around, but as soon as you start getting too athletic, it's gonna seize up on you. So 2 weeks isn't long enough.
Agreed.
What do you think?
No, I completely agree. I couldn't have said it any better. I think when that high ankle sprain came out, dude, that's a lingering type of injury. Now, I will say in the game against the Bengals, when he had to run, he was effective at doing it. That scramble that he got out of bounds, that they got the 15-yard penalty on that bonehead play. You could be talking about if that whole play doesn't happen, we're probably talking about an Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl, to be honest with you, because they had them on the ropes. That was just a bonehead move that killed him. It was a 15-yard scramble before that extra 15 points. So he's not going to be throwing, he's going to be throwing caution to the wind is what I'm trying to say. And Pat Mahomes never wanted to come out of that game. So yes, he's hobbled. Yes, it's a high ankle sprain. He's not going to be the Pat Mahomes, but even Pat Mahomes at 60% is probably still top 2 quarterback in the league, top 3 quarterback in the league,
No question. Might still be just the best.
115 passer rating after he got hurt.
Until after Jalen Hurts becomes the best this coming Sunday.
It's just, by the way, who's he throwing to? Sky Moore? That's the thing. What are we talking about here on that team? I would have no idea who McCall Hardman.
Valdez-Scantling.
Fine.
Yeah, he'll drop a wide open one for sure.
And they don't have is McCall Hardman? Is he cleared?
No, he's not. He quit.
Yeah. He tapped out. He Brock Purdy.
Yeah, he Brock Purdy.
It was really early with Brock Purdy. I was actually, I felt like we were going to beat them regardless, just because we had
the system worked.
taken over the game.
Yeah.
I was kind of felt cheated by Brock Purdy. Did y'all?
No, me too. And then it came out that he actually had a destroyed UCL joint, and then I was like, oh, I feel kind of bad for saying he tapped out. But I think the only reason that it got worse is because they put him back in the game. It actually was fine until that point. That's when he really got in.
Yes.
They probably shouldn't Probably should have let Johnson continue to play, even though he didn't know where he was. I knew it as soon as he got hit.
Was awful.
The second he came in, dude, I said to everyone around me, I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl, right? Josh Johnson isn't scoring 14 points. When they were up 2 scores, I was like, it's not happening.
It was team total under and team total over, and that's look. I'm not. I want to make sure this is really clear because we have so much now on wax. I am not. None of us are disrespecting Patrick Mahomes. No, Patrick Mahomes is probably the only one in the league capable of, if the team is going to be they scored 21 unanswered points against the Niners in the fourth quarter and won that Super Bowl. But also, a lot of the things that he's not great at, he's never gotten better at, and we're very, very good at. And it's just why I think people can talk all they want about how the Eagles have a soft schedule. You know what? as soon as this line opened, which was, by the way, it opened as a pick'em, smart money couldn't wait to bet the Eagles as favorites.
All the way up to 2.5.
All the way up. And by the way, they bet them up to favorites, but this is really key. This gets like kind of inside baseball on some of the numbers. These are two teams that don't kick field goals. So 3 isn't as key of a number as 2. Agreed. Because they do a lot of 2s. If you want to say there's people that are going to say, oh, well, they did it so that they could buy back on Mahomes with points. If they did that, then why didn't they buy it to the point where the line moved past 2? It didn't. Yep. It basically still left at a dead number, a number that doesn't help out the Chiefs.
Yep.
If you're a Chiefs backer. So like this game still ends up being a money line game. Neither of these teams play close games either way, because like the Chiefs winning that game by 3 points last week, that's not what they do. They either lose by 4 or they win by 10. And this Eagles team, this Eagles team is not getting respected by some people, but then a lot of people they've still made people money all season. They've still been worth backing, and they've taken care of what's in front of them. Half of being a champion is taking care of what's in front of you, not just playing, playing up to the competition. It's also just playing out what you got to do.
And Berg just nailed that whole hey, this is a money line game. If you're really going to bet it, why mess with the spread? Sure, when it was 2.5, a teaser wasn't a horrible look on the Chiefs. However, man, I just think you absolutely just nailed that really breakdown there on just like the way to attack and the way to bet this game. So I couldn't agree more.
I'm looking up what the exact score. Go continue.
No, I'm done. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I'm going to be watching the game with Dan. So I'm like, really, I'm excited about that, but I'm just looking up, the way to attack this game is that look at alts on either of these sides, man. Like we all love, like Newbie likes to say, we love plus money props and things always in here, but this is where, what is it? Let me look right now. It's Eagles. If Eagles to win by, I think Eagles, and they know Eagles to win by 9.5 is only plus 280.
Oof.
Wow. On a game that we're being told are 2 even teams. Yeah. They're basically like, they don't want to give you 3. Like the liability that's on the Eagles right now must be, they were 22-1 preseason.
My personal line is I would still be on the over side of that. My pick is Eagles 34, Chiefs 24.
Okay.
So you guys both think a 10-point win, huh? 10-point
I do.
Win
I'm very confident
Eagles.
in a 10-point win.
All right. Well, if it's final score prediction time here, I think this Eagles defense is going to get blown up a little bit. I think that the Gannon detractors are going to get a little feather in their cap in this game simply because of the scheme and the prep that Andy's going to bring in. However, I do also think the Eagles are going to be looking to run the ball, but that doesn't mean the clock just keeps on ticking and ticking and ticking. Like, I think they're going to get theirs, whether it's through the air, whether it's continuing to pound it on the ground, because what do we know about Spags defense is it has major holes in it, and the Eagles are pretty good at scheming against it as well. So I know Berg thinks it's going to be big run here, big run there, big run there. I do think this is going to look a little bit more like that, the Super Bowl 52 against the Patriots. I think we got a back and forth kind of punching bag. Yeah, what do you got?
Give me find this out, producers or contributors. What I got Dallas Goedert 2 touchdowns.
Ooh,
what can I get through it for?
That's spicy.
I don't
probably
hate that.
That's a big one.
Go get it, y'all. Dallas Goedert's about to cook
I'm trying to find where. Oh, correct score for the ones that we were talking about. For the correct score of what we said. What we said, like there's the world where it's Eagles 31, Chiefs 8 is what I wanted.
31-8. Okay.
It's not even listed. It's not even because it is. I guess you get scoregami. No, I just look. I think that all of these, by the way, any of them. If we predict the right score, it's at least a 250 to 1 type of shot here.
Dallas Goedert to score 2 touchdowns, 2 or more touchdowns. You got a 10-1 shot plus $1,000 on that one. So,
that'd be great.
So that's that. That ain't bad right there. A $10 bet netting you $100. Dallas Goedert 2 touchdowns, not awful.
That's not awful.
Cook was getting cooked last week. I mean, he's going to have his way with Nick Bolton.
That's
He's
what
gonna
I'm
have his way with
thinking.
Bolton
Yeah.
and those other guys. The young guy, I forget Karlaftis, I believe his name is. Not bad, good young player. Dallas Goedert's nothing to play with, and he hasn't really gotten his. Him and
Agreed.
AJ Brown are hungry.
Agreed.
And we
I would
haven't
look.
seen a lot of.
I would maybe look at AJ Brown under receptions, but I do think he gets a lot of yards. I think they're going to be spreading the ball around. I completely forgot to give my final score prediction. So in the NFC Championship game, I had my whole entire breakdown about how I thought, Jake Elliott's going to come on and be the hero. I think this is where that happens. I think Andy Reid botches the clock at the end of the game. Eagles 27, Chiefs 24, because he leaves 42 seconds left on the clock. Jalen Hurts gets them down into field goal range because of a botched clock mismanagement. Eagles 27, Chiefs 24. We get the over for the public. The public cashes in on the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody's happy. And Matt Berg, I'll see you on Broad Street, baby. 2-time Super Bowl champs off the foot of Jake Elliott.
It's got the shortest odds, but I love the storybook. It's the storybook makes the whole thing worth it.
27-24 is so good.
The Eagles the my prediction, so that's plus 4,900.
Yeah.
The Eagles 31, Chiefs 7. If we're thinking that this Eagles team does what we think they're going to do with that defense, plus 48,000. So almost 500 to 1. And
might as well
31 to 20. 31 to 20 is actually great odds. It's 170 to 1. So I'm probably gonna sprinkle on a lot of this. But look, I think that we all agree that there's gonna be holes. There's gonna be I think it's just a matter of how much of this game you think is gonna be competitive. And I would want to ask this, Matt and Newbie, are there guys that you're watching for in the game that like we haven't mentioned that, like last week we were like, hey, everyone's sleeping on Hassan Reddick, and no one is sleeping on Hassan Reddick. I know
Gainwell for 100.
There you go. Gainwell's 13 to 1 to lead the game in rushing. And
Kenny
I love
G,
it.
Get that smooth sacks ready, baby, for Kenny G.
I love it. He's 13 to 1 to lead the game in rushing, and he's already done it once.
I was up in the 205 level, and that's what every time Kenny G would get a run, and like I would go tick, 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 and then I would
Careless Whisper.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait, some dude turned around, he was like, that's a George Michael song, asshole.
Oh my gosh.
So
Just
good.
way to blow it for everybody.
That was my consistent Halloween costume for like 5 years, was sexy sax guy, and
that's pretty cool.
I just had
that's Gainwell this week. That's Gainwell this week.
I had a fanny pack.
I'm sending y'all gifs of that.
I love that.
If Gainwell's cooking, I'm sending it to y'all.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
I love Gainwell. I like Gainwell for a touchdown, Gainwell over attempts, Gainwell over receivings. It's the sexy sacks, Kenny G, sexy sacks stacks. That's what it is.
So, and you asking, is there anybody I think that we haven't really mentioned? It ties in perfectly. If we're getting ready to wrap here, I'll give my plays with no explanation. I'll give you my plays with no explanation.
Please.
That Daddy likey, and it's Eagles first half team total over 13. I think at the absolute worst,
he loves these.
This is going to push.
Sacks?
No. Oh, team total. Just team total. Their total points in the first half over 13.
Oh, okay.
And that's just minus 110. I think at the worst case, that's going to push because it also ties in second quarter total points over 13.5. That's between the Chiefs and the Eagles. If we start off slow, second quarter for both of these teams has been well. That's minus 125. Quez Watkins, he might get a catch, but is he getting 2 catches? I don't know. Quez Watkins under 1.5 catches. That's minus 130. And then the last one I got for you, Dallas Goedert over 4.5 catches. If we think he's scoring 2 touchdowns potentially, Maddie, he's getting at least 5 catches. Only minus 120 for Goddard to eat. That middle is going to be open all day against.
I love that. I like that play.
2
over
tutties.
4.5 catches.
2 tutties. I'm telling you. Everybody.
There's the plays, which I said had no explanation. Then I offered an explanation on every single one of them.
I like it.
No, it's beautiful. Well, y'all, I guess we didn't get a drop on the name. Just keep on following along. But thank y'all.
We don't know it yet, but maybe we offer it to your to the listeners.
It'll be an exclusive here. All right.
We won't drop it.
We'll do a one-off episode that's 5 minutes long for honorable mention where we just say our name and then we talk Dallas Cowboys for 4 minutes and get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Actually, the name of the pod is going to be Honorable Henshin. It's going to be the
exactly.
Man, y'all are hilarious. Thank y'all so much for coming on, and like and subscribe, and go
listen.
Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
Say it back. Go Birds.